I thought about this video because I was working a shift at the hospital. So you guys know I got 2 jobs now, right? I got 2 jobs. I'm a hospice chaplain full time, and I'm a part-time PRN chaplain at a hospital. And so this came up during my precepting at my new hospital position. And one of the things that the more senior chaplain that's precepting me gave me a compliment on is how I'm able to wrap up long conversations. I.e., how do you get out of a room? It's a great question. And as a chaplain, you need to learn how to master this, because we have such big hearts and we are so compassionate and we want to stick with people throughout their story, because we know that narrative is telling us so much about that person and their spiritual condition and how we might be able to support them and all the things. But we also have time limits, especially in a hospital. In hospice, one of the things that I love about hospice is that I can do more longitudinal relationships with people, and I can spend more time with them because I'm not the only chaplain in the hospital setting, right? Like in a hospital, you could be 1 or 2 chaplains on that shift, right? And you got an entire hospital to cover, and you've got level 1 traumas happening, and right, and people are coding and all of the things. And so you may not be able to sit with the patient as long as I can on the hospice side. So you need to get really good at wrapping up an encounter so that you can serve other patients in the hospital. It's not about being insensitive or rushing people, because I believe that as chaplains, we are the part of the care team that actually does have more time than a physician or a nurse would have to sit with people. But we do have other responsibilities as well. So one of the tips I want to give you, the biggest tip I want to give you on how to end a visit gracefully, where a person doesn't feel abandoned, and you can close it up on a good note, is get really good at summaries. I use a lot of motivational interviewing, and one of the key acronyms in motivational interviewing is OARS, and it's O for open-ended questions, A for affirmations, R for reflections, and S for summaries. Getting out of a patient encounter, wrapping up a patient encounter, especially when somebody's long-winded or the story has gotten circular, all signs that your work is probably done there. Reflections and summaries can help you wrap that up really well. When I have heard a person's story and I feel like I've gotten what I needed to be able to serve them, right? I've gotten the information that I needed. And now the story is getting repetitive, or they're getting lost in their story. And I've been there for, 30 minutes now. And I'm like, okay, how do I get to the next thing, right? How do I get them to the place of I can really actually support them or move forward after I've already supported them and they're going back? A good reflection will do that. So basically, they've been going on for 30 minutes about, let's just say, they're estranged from one of their children, and they've been talking about that for a while. A good reflection after they've been talking about that for a while is to say, wow, I've heard you say over and over again how your daughter not being in your life is really making you sad. It sounded like you were angry initially, but right now, I feel like you're sad. Reflecting back the emotion behind what they're saying. That can drill down on what it is they need support in that moment. Reflect the emotion behind the story. Reflect what you've heard them say. To wrap it up, after you use the reflection, is summarize what y'all talked about. It's really simple. So going back to Susie with the estrangement from her daughter, thank them. Susie, thank you so much for being so vulnerable with me. I know that was not easy to talk about. And I know you have been carrying that for a while. So thank you for trusting me with that. I've heard you say that this has really made you sad that you and your daughter are no longer speaking. And I'm also glad that we got to the point where you're thinking about making a phone call to her this week. It's my prayer that you're able to do that. And I want to offer any support I can around making that happen. So is there anything that I can do to spiritually support you so that you feel ready to make that call to your daughter? That is a close-ended question. I summarized it. No more open-ended questions. It's a simple yes or no. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes, and they'll tell you what they need, and you can commit to doing that. That ends the visit. Or they'll say no. And you can say, again, thank you. If you need me, here's our card. Call me. That's the best way to do it. And every chaplain is going to have their own style, but reflections and summaries are your friend. Practice them. Get used to it. Because if not, I know chaplains who will say, woo, they come down to the ante room and they'll say something like, oh my goodness, I was in that visit for 2 hours. And I'm like, wow. And what did the patient need? How did you help the patient get some resolution or peace, or are they staying with hard emotions? Where did this go? And 9 times out of 10, it wasn't that the patient necessarily needed them to stay. It was that they didn't know how to get out of it without hurting that patient's feelings or feeling like they were abandoning a patient. I think I'll talk in another video, because this one's getting kind of long, about what I mean by abandoning a patient. No, I'm going to talk about it now. I'll just make it shorter. I feel like I'm abandoning a patient when I leave them, like the conversation has stirred up some emotion and they're crying or they're really angry. And then I just go, all right, wow, I'm so sorry. Well, is there anything else I can do for you? All right, because I got to go. Right? That's abandoning a patient, because they're at this very heightened emotional state, and all you can do is offer them some tissue, which I never do, by the way. All you can do is be like, wow, this really sucks. And you're looking to get out that room. If someone's crying hysterically, I am going to stay with them. Now, I might not have anything to say. I'm using silence as an intervention, just my presence in that moment. But I want them to have some calm. I don't want to leave them at the peak of an emotion, if that makes any sense. I want them to be able to get a sense of regulation. That doesn't mean they have to stop crying completely, but if they've been crying hysterically or if they're extremely angry, I want to give them a chance to get some regulation, for them to calm down before I do a reflection and a summary to go ahead and end that visit. So there's that. All right. I hope this video is helpful for you. If you've got other ideas, if you're a chaplain, on how to end a visit, drop it in the comments. If you're new around here, my name is Leslie. I'm creating the videos that I wish existed when I first started discerning becoming a chaplain. So I hope this was helpful. Like, share, comment. It costs you nothing to comment, y'all. And that helps to get this out into the algorithm so that more people can see it. And until next time, grace and peace.